realize what this known means, because whatever we know is either our empirical knowledge or one or the other kind of rational knowledge. And if we go back to Upanishads, especially Ishopanishad, which keeps all these kinds of knowledge under avidya. It's all avidya. Entire worldly knowledge is avidya, and this word avidya is used in a specific sense. Avidya is not negation, it's not negative. Its connotation seems to be negative, but the term is not negative. And the Rishi has given a positive meaning to it when the mantra says, Vidyam cha avidyam cha yastat vedo bhayam saha avidya mrityum tirtva vidya amritam ashnute. There is another kind of knowledge which is called vidya. And vidya here means a spiritual experience. And all knowledge other than a spiritual experience is put under avidya. And this mantra says that this avidya helps us in crossing the ocean of death. Avidya mrityum tirtva. Vidya amritam ashnute means, and yes, avidya helps us in crossing the ocean of this sufferings of life. And vidya helps us in amaratva, that is self-realization or whatever, nirvana, kaivalya. So here also similar suggestion has been given by the rishis of Upanishad. And I find Jiddu Krishnamurti in the series of those seers who have made sincere effort for the self-realization. One thing is very clear, that there have been many paths. Buddha has one path, Shankaracharya has another, Mahavir has yet another path. We cannot say that one or the other of them is not a good path. It is our own interest and inclination which path we choose. And it depends on our own interest and also on our own ability to follow the path. So, it's not true in my understanding that one path is good and the other is not good. We accept one thing and say it is good, and reject another and say that is not good. But this practice is not correct. All paths actually help us, provided we follow those paths sincerely. The success depends on the sincerity we observe. Otherwise, no path is meaningless. I try to develop my talk on the basis of Shankara's distinction between knowledge and action, but I don't find it useful here. One thing, while reading the books on Krishnamurti, I could find some sentences with which I have found very close affinity of the Upanishadic teachings. The one thing which one of our speakers also told in the morning session, that he had great love for the nature. Krishnamurti had a great love for the nature. And the other thing, that individual consciousness and cosmic consciousness, they are not two different things. These ideas are actually as if directly derived from Upanishadic teachings. I can quote the parallels in different Upanishads where, and it also, especially the first saying that this nature is our laboratory. It reminds us the statement of the great French philosopher René Descartes, who says, try to read the open book of nature. That is the best book available, and you will find the required knowledge in this book. One of my friends, who is a Urdu teacher and also a poet, he shared 2-3 lines, and I want to quote it. It says, तेरी तहरीर में लिखा क्या है? Tahrir means the description, oral or written. तेरी तहरीर में तेरा क्या है? What is there? What is yours in your statements? तेरी तहरीर में तेरा क्या है? सब हवाले मेरी किताब से हैं. All the references belong to the book written by me. तेरी तहरीर में तेरा क्या है? सब हवाले मेरी किताब से हैं. And the next line indicates who is speaking this statement, who is making this statement. The third line says, हूँ आसमां कहीं पर तो कहीं जमी हूँ मैं. I am this space, the sky, the earth. हूँ आसमां कहीं पर तो कहीं जमी हूँ मैं. But ultimately, we come to the same position in the fourth line, which says, लेकिन तेरे बगैर तो कुछ भी नहीं हूँ मैं. Unless the human mind derives some meaning out of it, entire earth, entire sky, entire nature actually gets a meaning through human effort. It is we who have given importance to them. So, हूँ आसमां कहीं पर तो कहीं जमी हूँ मैं, लेकिन तेरे बगैर तो कुछ भी नहीं हूँ मैं. These lines seem to be useful for a person who wants to start a spiritual journey in his or her life. And the original, the basic question of Upanishadic Rishi was, Ko aham, who am I? What is my nature? And many scholars for thousands of years have tried to find out the reply to this question, who am I? Krishnamurti has given his own answer to this question. And my beginning point, freedom from the known, that is the point of departure of his spiritual journey. One of my great professors, who has not taught me, of course, in Allahabad University, but who has taught my teachers, Professor A.C. Mukherjee, Anukul Chand Mukherjee. He has written a book, The Nature of Self, and he concludes that book by saying that self is his entire discussion of 300 or more than 300 pages says that the nature of self, this is not only the first question of Upanishadic philosophy, but also the ultimate question, which has not been answered in such a long time. Complete answer is yet to come. Some of the philosophers, they say they find the self in empirical beings. Some others say that it is unknowable. Professor Mukherjee says in his book, The Nature of Self, that it is the ultimate reality is beyond the known and above the unknown. So it is neither known nor unknown. It is away from both of them. So this kind of reality can be apprehended only by spiritual practice, by spiritual sadhana, in which so many persons of this tradition, they have been engaged. And there are other persons in other sects, they are also engaged in their own way. And one of the students was asking a question, how to come out on some paper. I was here in the hall. And how to come out of this bondage which has surrounded us. That question reminded me another Hindi poem of a Bhakta Kavi, Bindu. He is not a popular poet, but he has written so many very good lines. He also has the similar feeling. Is the question, which feeling was engaged in the question raised by a student. कैद दुनिया किस अजब जादू की है, टोने की है. What kind of jail it is, I am unable to understand. This entire world is a jail, but it is a strange kind of jail. कैद दुनिया किस अजब जादू की है, टोने की है, इससे कैदी जीव को नफरत नहीं होने की है. Nobody dislikes it. And the third line says, शाह मुल्जिम पैर में दोनों ने पहनी बेड़ियां. Both शाह and मुल्जिम, both they are in bondage. फर्क इतना है कि एक लोहे की एक सोने की है. So there is a chain of iron chain or a golden chain, but we are all in chain. And the strange thing is that we like this chain, we like this bondage. And the process of enlightenment starts when we start disliking this chain. These words, I thank Dr. Rajesh ji. I congratulate him for organizing such a very good, very successful seminar. And I thank him